Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Corbin Russwin number 188 F41 689. This is a parallel arm bracket is what this is. Smart little design that they have going on here. This would be appropriate for a door that would be swinging out this way, the way that I'm holding it. And a couple of reasons that are smart about it is they've got this sort of this elongated dimpled area, and that just serves to strengthen the piece. If I were to put this into a vise and then hit this part with a hammer to try to bend it or fold it over, it would kind of act as if it was the pressure that was the arm that's mounted here, and when the door hyper opens, the tendency to want to fold that down, well, that will make it stronger than a common parallel arm bracket. I don't see those damaged very often, but my opinion is that because this material might be slightly thinner, they compensate the design like this to make it, to not lose much strength would be my guess. There's another smart detail about that parallel arm bracket, and that's the fifth screw hole spacer. The fifth screw hole spacer, what is that for? Let's talk about that. Actually, we'll probably need to illustrate that, but the fifth hole spacer is a block that's going to sit here. Or it can sit here. That's what makes this smart. It has a particular thickness this way and a different thickness this way. That's related to the projection of the stop. A typical hollow metal frame would be a 5/8 projection. You might have something closer to a 1/2 inch for a wood or maybe an aluminum application. So depending on how you set that, you'll be able to handle different frame thicknesses is the bottom line. Let's go over some basic dimensional properties. And you'll get self-drilling screws with this as well. And then you're going to get the 2 screws needed to hold the arm shoe onto the unit as well. Those are tapped holes that are here and here. And you'll have 5 holes here. And the reason you might need the 5th hole spacer is because the soffit dimension isn't great enough, and we'll show that in a moment. Overall depth of the parallel arm bracket, about 4 7/16. Overall width over here, about 2 7/8. And then about 3 1/2 here. Let's switch to the screen view and let's show how that bracket with the 5th hole spacer might be used. But first, what would you use this for? Let's talk about that now. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. A parallel arm bracket is used simply when you need to install the door closer in a parallel arm fashion. There are 3 primary ways to install a door closer. A surface door closer. And then there's another way which I'll mention. The 3 primary ways, and if you've ever heard the term tri-packed, T-R-I, that's because that closer right out of the box can do any of those 3. Regular arm, top jam, and parallel arm. To do a parallel arm, you need the parallel arm bracket. Without this, you won't be able to do that method. It's called parallel arm bracket because the arm, the forearm and the main arm are basically parallel to the face of the door. Not exactly, not both of them, but one of them is really close to being parallel with the face of the door. The other 2 mounting methods are, or of all 3, you'll determine which mounting method you're going to use that best suits the application. A parallel arm means that the closer is mounted on the push side of a door, where the body is mounted on the door itself. So push side and mounted on the body. The top jam is push side mount, but now we've taken that closer body and put it onto the header. So in aluminum storefront, a strip mall application, the back door of that is probably going to be a steel door. That's going to be parallel arm mounted because you want the hardware installed on the inside of the building. The front door, the aluminum storefront, that can likely be top jam mount, where the body is on the header and then the arm is attached to the top rail of the door. It's nice because you move that closer up higher and out of the way, but also aluminum storefront generally doesn't have enough top rail dimension to mount a door closer body onto. Most certainly not without a drop plate in many instances. The other way is a regular arm. In that same business, I'm imagining a coffee shop or a fast food, restaurant operation. That bathroom door, it's probably going to be regular arm. The body is mounted on the door itself, but this time on the pull side. So in that same building, in that same business, you can have all three mounts. Parallel arm on the back door, top jam on the front door, and regular arm on the bathroom door. However, without this, you won't be doing it all three ways. And that's why you will end up needing this. Why this client bought this, hard to say. They obviously have a closer that didn't come with it, which is unlikely. Or it was damaged. The door was hyperextended, and thankfully everything else is okay, except that plate is bent, and they could be replacing it. We've sold just these brackets because of that reason, or because the client didn't get it to begin with. Let's switch to the screen view and look at some supporting information. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. Okay, here's the item that we are looking at. Let's take a look at some photographs. That's everything that's included. This is in the sprayed aluminum finish. Obviously, this will be available in all of the finishes that the closer is available in. That is the side of the bracket that you would never see. That's mounted to the underside of the header. And there's your screw package. Then a couple of pictures of that fifth hole spacer. It's thinner than it is this way, as we discussed earlier. You really know that's what they're going for with these two holes that are here. Pretty smart design as far as I'm concerned. Now, fifth hole spacer, why would you use it? It's not obvious, but when you go to install a closer onto a narrow frame, you'll figure out one of those four holes you're not going to make work. Two frames, two different soffit widths. That's called the soffit. That's the return. That's the face. That's the stop face. That's the soffit. Stop face. Oh, sorry, I missed one. That's the rabbit. That's the rabbit. That's the face. That's the return. All of this is the stop. The stop has the face and then the soffit. In your application, if you have your parallel arm bracket like this, you'll get those four holes in here. But that fifth hole, that's going to fall here. That's where that spacer goes. You can see, and I'll get rid of some of these arrows here, you can see in this application, you're not going to have that problem. Your four screws are going to fit here just nice, so will that fifth screw. But not the case when your soffit dimension is much smaller, like this. That's where that block will sit to support that bracket. That's exactly what it's used for. There is a link below this video to the cut sheet that will show you this mounting bracket along with other sister products to it. This is the standard with a DC 6210 and DC 6410 closers, packed with 5 screws, actually 7, and your 691 F78 spacer. Other brackets are here for that series of closer depending on the application. Okay, now there is a link below this video, as seen here, to the manufacturer's page in our website. And from here you can pull up not only all of the Corbin Russwin products that we sell by means of this horizontal navigation as seen here, but also you'll be able to pull up a link to their website here, right there, full line catalog here, several versions of the full line catalog that are older. And when I mean older, I've got some that are really old. You want to see what Corbin was making in 1905? There's your catalog. I'll just let that run and we'll check on it in a moment. There are other very important encyclopedic documents here. Potbelly door closer instructions. If you've got an old Corbin traditional or potbelly closer, that's here. Parts manual is here. The most important document as it pertains to Corbin Russwin is going to be called the Corbin Russwin Cylinder Manual. This is a document that goes over everything important about the keying systems of Corbin and Russwin going back into the 19th century. To work in the environment of Corbin Russwin and their keying without this document would be a very unfulfilling and challenging, rewardless task. This document is irreplaceable when it comes to understanding the key systems of Corbin Russwin and what companies they were before it was Corbin Russwin. Okay, let's wrap up this video on camera, but before we do so, let's check in on our 1905 catalog. It's almost loaded. 1,104 pages. And, I mean, think of how thick that book must have been. You know, print on both sides of the page. I have used this document for historical reference lots of times, especially when researching old lock sets. The 1905 catalog is a great one because it's very, very thick and is the first time I saw this catalog, is the first catalog that I am aware of, that I own a copy of or a scan of, where the master ring cylinder is mentioned in it. The master ring cylinder is also mentioned in the Corbin Russwin Cylinder Manual, and that is a very different conversation altogether, but the 1905 catalog has that. Okay, let's wrap up this video on camera. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. So whatever the reason may be that you need this parallel arm bracket, well, here it is. Very generic design. Actually, one thing that would be helpful to show you is the center to center of these screw holes. If you want to be sure your arm shoe is going to fit, looks like it's about 2 1/4 inch center to center. Which means you're going to probably be able to use it on, if your arm shoe fits that 2 1/4 center to center. You know, I'm not saying that it does, but if it does, it will fit on lots of different door closers you'll be able to use this on. Corbin Russwin goes back well into the, I mean, literally post-Civil War era is when PF Corbin got its start. And then at some point in the early 90s, I think Corbin and Russwin merged, although they were all but sister companies for a very long time, even operating out of the same building for several decades. The interesting thing about Corbin and its key system is, one fun fact about the Empire State Building is that it was built in 9 months, and it was built well ahead of schedule, and well below, and certainly below budget as well. All Corbin locks went into that building when it was built. Any questions on the 188 F41 parallel arm bracket or any other Corbin product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.